Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs Pregame Show podcast presented by DraftKings, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download the app. Use the promo code CHGO when you sign up. Luke Stuckmeyer, Cody Delmendo, as we get ready for Cubs Padres at freezing cold Wrigley Field.
Beautiful, historic, and frozen Wrigley Field
But
tonight.
at least the sun is out.
Well, it won't be tonight. I know those
Right
lights are warm, too. Cubs Padres, we do have news entering the game from this afternoon. Nelly up, belly out. Nelson Velazquez called up. Cody Bellinger headed to the paternity list after the birth of his baby girl. So congratulations to the Bellingers. And Velazquez in the lineup, too.
Good.
I was kind of disappointed he got sent down after the Grand Slam because the Grand Slam is the moment of the season so far.
Well, I don't think he made an out that game. He went like
Yeah,
3 for 4 or 3 for 3.
Yeah, I mean,
like that.
I saw somebody say hopefully he can make an impact this time up, and I was like, well, I don't know too much more he could have done the last time up.
How can you better the last time?
Yeah, so, and I don't expect that this is going to be some massive stretch of time off for Cody Bellinger, but he's in the lineup tonight, playing center field, Velazquez, and we've talked ad nauseum about other guys filling in the outfield who maybe aren't as good defensively. So hopefully Velazquez does a nice job in center tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he ain't going to be as good as Cody Bellinger's been out there. Let's be real about that. But I think we can feel better about Velazquez out there in center than we felt about anyone else in right field before Seiya Suzuki was healthy. So the Cubs still have a very solid outfield defense, even with Velazquez out there. He had some struggles out there last year, but he struggled a lot in general last year, especially in the second half of the year. There wasn't a lot to like from his game last year. He's off to a hot start in Iowa, like we keep talking about. And when we talked to Alex Cohen yesterday, he talked about Nelson a little bit, had nothing but good things to say about him. So I feel like maybe we manifested at least someone from Iowa coming to this team. Maybe it's just because Cody Bellinger's kid decided to arrive. I choose to believe that we manifested it. I'm excited to see him in the lineup. He's going to be here. I don't know how long Bellinger will be on the paternity list, but I expect him to be here for at least this series.
Yeah, and, if anybody missed that's in the chat, welcome to everybody in the chat. Hi, Rhonda. Hi, Barb. P-Will supporter, Tanya. Evil Wax. If anybody missed that live podcast yesterday with Alex Cohen, it's worth going back and listening to if you want to hear about what's going on with the prospects at AAA Iowa. It also means you probably haven't subscribed to our podcast on Spotify or YouTube or wherever, because that would mean you missed it.
Perhaps.
So go ahead and do that while you're at it, and that way you won't miss anything. But worth going back and listening to. I thought he was great and very gracious with his time. I just feel like going into this series, I'm okay with the record. I know we talked about it yesterday a little bit. They have a better record than the White Sox, the Phillies, the Astros, the Cardinals, the Dodgers, the Padres. A lot of teams with high expectations. But it would be nice, after losing 3 out of 4, to at least win this series against the Padres, another good team, to feel better about this homestand. Because we knew going into it was going to be a tough one.
Oh, yeah. And you want to – not only do you want to win this series just to make this homestand better, but also take some momentum down to Miami this weekend.
Yeah.
Miami's off to a hot start too. Mm-hmm. And, with this new schedule format, you're not playing the Reds 20 times a year. You're not playing the Pirates 20 times a year, whatever, even though the Pirates are off to a 16-7 start. But, you're not playing teams in your division as much as you have in, ever. And so I just feel like there's no series off unless you're playing the Oakland A's. And, this is a big series. I love the matchup for the Cubs tonight, who they're going up against. And I've said this before, going into these big series this month of April, if you can get the first game of the series, it just takes a little bit of pressure off you, the final 2 games of the series, to be able to win the series. And I think that's one thing the Cubs have been able to do when they won those five consecutive series, is they were able to win the first game of the series, I believe, in all of them. So I think that momentum that they built from that game 1 of each series is just kind of carries over, and it allowed them to, either win the series or sweep like they did in Oakland.
I see we have a super chat. Steven, Buck99, ready to see my boy Nelly hit another nuke, a Nelly nuke.
I don't know, man. The wind's blowing in tonight.
It is
from
blowing
left.
in. He's going to have to really hammer one tonight. Maybe Patrick Wisdom, maybe Nelly, but it won't be. That said, every time we think that nobody's going to hit a home run, then you get like 3 or 4 that night somehow. Somebody gets a hold of one. Yeah. I think really this game is about Steele versus Snell. Justin Steele's off to a great start, 3-0. Mm-hmm. Blake Snell, former Cy Young winner, off to a horrible start, 0-3. Keep both of those things going in that direction. And
he's got a 6 ERA. His whip is not great.
No.
He's walking a lot of dudes. The Cubs are getting him at the right time. I think he'll be better at some point, but this month of April has not been good.
No, it hasn't. But Steele has a chance. We talked about the potential of how should we do it? Should we do a Cubs Player of the Month this year? Should we do an Offensive Player of the Month and a Defensive Player, like a Pitcher of the Month? And I don't know if we really decided on that, but right now, I'd say, Stroman was certainly in the lead for Pitcher of the Month, but a good start tonight, Steele might leapfrog him.
Yeah, I would absolutely say that. For Offensive Player, I would definitely just say Nico Horner.
Or Patrick Wisdom.
Or Cody Bellinger.
I mean, you have some
There's
options.
a lot of guys.
Wisdom, though, what does he have, 9 homers?
Yeah.
9 home runs.
Got an OPS over 1,000.
Nico's been spectacular, 9 home runs.
I just think Nico is what makes his team go, man. So, but
Nico goes, we go.
Yeah, exactly. But when we get to the end of the month, we can discuss.
We will.
See how this week goes. Coming off 2 straight losses, kind of talked about yesterday on yesterday's podcast, just how I felt going into that off day, and I'm just teetering back and forth with how I feel. And again, like I said at the end of the show, those vibes completely go back to positive fully if you get a win tonight. I just think the Cubs need to bounce back in a big way tonight, and good teams are able to do that after you drop a series like they did against the Dodgers. Go out there and prove that that this 12-9 start is no fluke.
I don't think it is. I really don't. I don't think the guys at the top of the lineup, the way they're playing, is a fluke. I don't think that the strength of the starting pitching has been a fluke. I don't think that, for the most part, the success of the bullpen has been a fluke. I'm still not saying it's necessarily a playoff team, but so far they look like a real Major League Baseball team, which is something we haven't been able to say for a little while.
At least since before the trade deadline 2021. You're right about that. Obviously, they're a lot more competitive, and they're a lot more fun to watch, and you can see that they have good players and guys that they want to build around, like Nico Horner and Ian Happ, and Seiya Suzuki's off to a good start. Bellinger's been everything we could have asked for. Wisdom is showing, maybe Dustin Kelly give him a lot of credit to helping Wisdom perhaps, or just Wisdom getting a little bit better. Had a couple strikeout games, 2 strikeout games Saturday and Sunday. So I'm hoping tonight against a guy who's struggling, he can get back on the right path. But overall, as far as the offense, outside of just a few guys, mainly at the bottom of the lineup, there's not a lot to complain about there. And the pitching has been way better than even I expected, and I was the most optimistic one on this podcast saying we'd win 88 games. So if the pitching will carry this team as far as it can, I think. So, like you said with Steele, He's probably the best. He'll probably be the best pitcher of the month for the Cubs if he wins tonight, or if he helps lead the Cubs to a win tonight. And I know it was Oakland last time out, but he's been very good. He was very good against the Dodgers.
Yeah.
In LA. So he's looked good against every team he's played. So I just hope he keeps building on that tonight. And it's everyone. What's crazy is like everyone kind of knows what he's trying to do,
right?
And no one's been able
pitches.
to, and no one's been able to figure it out. So the one stat that I love about Justin Steele that people always talk about is the low barrel rate. No one gets any barrels off this guy.
It's a fastball,
right?
It's a fastball. So for some reason, it's tough to hit. We heard right before we walked over here, Joe Girardi saying, "Sit on Snell's fastball. Yeah, sit on that fastball. Somebody will get one." And you'll be able to take it out even into the wind. He'll make that mistake. So
maybe out to right.
Let's hope somebody in the lineup can do that. It's Horner, Swanson, Happ, Suzuki, Wisdom at third, Hosmer DHing, Mancini at first, Gomes catching, Velazquez in center, and of course Steele pitching for the Cubs. I still don't have the full answer on Hosmer DHing, Mancini first base. Yeah. But that's the way they're going.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe my preconceived notion going into the season that Hosmer is actually the better fielder, maybe the Cubs don't believe that. Yeah. I mean, based on the way the lineup's being put out, it sure looks that way.
Yeah, I mean, Mancini in the lineup, he has a home run against Blake Snell in his career.
But as far as like if they're both in the lineup, who's the DH, who's the first baseman?
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe Mancini has said like, if I'm playing, I'd rather it's better for me to stay in the game being at first base, and maybe Hosmer doesn't care. I don't know.
Yeah, perhaps the splits could tell us something stuck.
You know, I don't look into the numbers. I only trust Delmetrics and Spath Math.
Fair.
Yep,
that's fair.
It's a new wave.
I just woke up Joey over there. I was just seeing if he was listening. I was just checking in. He just finished the Bulls show. He's doing back-to-back duty. So
you know,
back to back. I also did the bet show earlier.
Yeah, did the bet show
back to back
11:30 this morning. He's had a long day stuck. He's ready to go home.
Back. Oh, please don't bring that back. Kyle Hendricks. Hey, good news on Kyle Hendricks, by the way. Bullpen went well today. He's going to start in Iowa on Thursday. David Ross saying it's probably the 4-inning, 60-pitch range for that start in Iowa. Of course, that could be adjusted. If there weren't any hiccups, if everything went well, it looks like Hendricks could be here mid-May. Mm. He hasn't pitched since July of 22.
Yeah. I believe it's July.
It's a long time. So now you have a little more wiggle room to see who's going to take the roster hit, right?
Yeah.
Like we'll see how that's going to impact, but it looks like Kyle Hendricks is getting ready to start to push his way toward the major league roster.
And you know that at the end of last year and throughout the offseason, I didn't have a lot of optimism for Kyle Hendricks, right?
Right.
And it's not because of Hayden Wisniewski. It has nothing to do – like going into the offseason, I wasn't sure if the Cubs were going to add a starter. And then they added Tyone. And then I really did start to think, okay, where's Kyle Hendricks fit into this? Because I think Hayden Wisniewski will be in the starting rotation at least by the end of the year. He was great in the spring. Obviously, he struggled outside of the Oakland start this year. It's going to be interesting. I don't think they're going to rush Kyle Hendricks here in 2 starts in Iowa unless he looks healthy and he looks like he's ready to go.
Well, you still have Tyone.
Yeah.
Hurt, so.
Right, that too. So maybe I don't know how they're going to treat this, but I think at this point, anything that Kyle Hendricks gives you is just an added bonus and something that no one really banked on. I mean, I've read enough tweets that people say this guy's washed, this guy's done. We're talking about the guy who for years, not just 1, 2 years, like for years was been very effective for this franchise. And, pitching Game 7 of the 2016 World Series. People forget that. I think they won. And won the pennant in 2016 as well. So I think he deserves a little bit more optimism, or at least some, give him a chance. I think that he obviously in 2021 he started off rough. Then he had a really good 15 to 16 start stretch, and then ended the year rough. And then last year just really wasn't very good, and then got hurt. I understand why people might be out on him or think he's washed or done or whatever. At the same time, though, I'm not willing to completely give up on the guy whenever he's not going to be in the same role that he's been in the last 2 years, which was the Cubs' top 2, top 3 starter. He's gonna be at the bottom of the rotation, and so the expectations for him for this year are completely different. And I think that only helps him. That only helps him and the team. So, again, we talked about how the injuries will come. Tyone on the IL, Wesneski. We don't know how that's going to pan out. I hope he gets better. I don't want the Cubs to send him to Iowa, but if he doesn't get any better, I think they're going to have to save his confidence and for him to work on, the things that he needs to work on. And so, to me, Kyle Hendricks being added to this roster in mid-May is going to be a huge addition if the Wesneski thing specifically doesn't get any better. So,
by the way, not to get off the Cubs show, but how about Steve Stone basically saying that Lance Lynn's a little too chunky to be pitching in baseball? In so many words.
Yeah.
I mean, I was shocked. I was shocked. And I'll be curious to see how that plays out. I'll be curious to see how they basically said he was asked, is the pitch clock slowing him down, which we've talked about, like what's the rhythm pitchers need to get into. And I heard his interview on The Score last week when he was talking about it. And the same thing actually came up. The same type of question was presented to him, and he didn't quite go down this road. This time he said something like, well, if the pitch clock is a problem for his conditioning, maybe he should eat a salad a couple times a week. And he said, but I don't know that conditioning's a problem.
Yeah.
Well, maybe the guy's just not the pitcher he used to be.
When I brought it up to you, all I could say was like, isn't this why the Cubs got rid of this guy? For just being completely open about this kind of, like, just about anything. So, I don't know, man. I think a lot of karma is coming back towards him. He's getting a lot of hate on social media I've seen lately, just because the way he's clapped back at people on social media, and it feels like karma. So,
not Mark Carmen. That's not what we're saying.
No.
We're saying karma.
Karma.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay, just making sure.
Not the karma.
You got any hit parlays tonight? Any wagers you're putting down on the DraftKings app?
Yeah, so I tweeted it earlier, and I also said it on CHGO.
I should point out,
daily.
you bet against Jimmy last night. I told you not to bet against Jimmy.
I did not bet against Jimmy.
I said, don't bet against Jimmy.
I didn't bet against
You took Giannis, and I said, don't bet against Jimmy.
But my parlay hit, though, Stuck.
Oh, okay. Well, then it's a
I
perfect world.
I didn't bet on the Bucks to win.
Then it's a perfect world for everybody.
All I did was make a parlay for specifically Giannis Antetokounmpo, and I only wish I'd increased the odds more because he finished with a triple-double. Anyway, tonight's hit parlay is Nico Horner, Seiya Suzuki, and Trey Mancini. If you use that 20% boost on DraftKings Sportsbook, that'll take it from plus 280 to plus 336. Again, facing Blake Snell, who's a lefty. Suzuki's hitting well over 500 against lefties. Nico Horner is having an insane month and has also hit well against lefties. And Trey Mancini started to heat up against the Dodgers this past series, I thought, outside the last 2 games.
Yeah.
I think that hopefully we start to see a little bit more offense out of him. Either way, I feel good about any Cubs hitter tonight against Blake Snell. The only thing that kind of scares me is wind is blowing in. So perhaps hit line drives, not moonshots.
That's what I was going to say. We've talked about this team and how it's different than a couple years ago where it was home run or bust, right?
Yeah.
And now you'll get the complaints when they lose games like, we don't have enough power. We don't have enough power. You hope there's a hybrid of the two. But this team has shown with all these multi-hit games that they have, like the double-digit multi-hit games that they've had, that it is a different offense. You're going to have guys hitting a lot more line drives. Nico's not going to hit 30 home runs, but he will hit a bunch of doubles and triples. And the same looks like Dansby is going to be potentially. Let's see with Dansby. I still say just because he hit 25 doesn't mean he's always going to hit 25. He may be a little bit lower than that. Maybe he'll continue to do that. We'll see. Maybe it's just a slow start for him, but.
Slow start is the numbers he's given us.
Well, I mean, power-wise.
Yeah.
This is one of those nights where you want this type of lineup.
Yeah.
Pepper Blake Snell to death. Bing, bang, boom, single, steal second. Move him over, score a run. Next guy up, double, score another. Like, keep it rolling. One after. I would love to see a double-digit hit performance tonight. You don't have to swing for the fences. With the wind blowing in, that's the wrong thing to go up to the plate thinking, oh, long ball. Look at he's leaving. Like, hit the ball hard.
Yeah.
Just continue to hit the ball hard and be who you are as a baseball player.
Yeah. Again, I feel like we're getting the Padres at the right time. They haven't played their best baseball yet, so the Cubs have to take advantage of that with their struggling pitcher right now. So, fingers crossed. Let's go.
Ravi has joined. The Godfather's here as well. Michael Collada says it's going to get dark tonight. Barb's here. Habel Bird. We're getting a W tonight, hands down. Big confidence. Jim is wondering if it's live. Yes, Jim, it is live.
Is that's
for
chat?
Barb?
Is the chat now?
I don't think they're
Barb?
reading the chat tonight, says Barb. Rhonda responds, double and singles. Win ball games. That is right.
Fernando Tatis, should we boo him or not?
He's a cheater.
He only got caught.
Boo.
Big steroids guy here. Big steroids guy.
Hey.
I'll stand up and give him a standing ovation.
Boo him. Boo him. Pre-game records for who you got as we begin the new work week with games because Monday was the off day. Currently, I'm in front at 7-12. Ryan at 6-13. Cody picked up a win over the weekend. He's 4-16 because of the double loss for the ALLCITY pick. And Corey at 5-14. So here are tonight's picks for who you got. Curious what the chat thinks about who should be chosen for who you got tonight. Now, Ryan missed out because he could have actually taken a pitcher tonight. His suspension for pitchers.
Well, you said Steele like at 11 a.m.
Yeah, 9 something.
Was it 9?
I was up and I'm like, if I don't do it now, I'm going to forget. So I took Steele. Cody's going Nico. I mean, you can't go wrong picking Nico.
No. I honestly, because I'm so far behind, I might just start picking Nico every day. As fast as I can. As soon as the lineup comes out.
Just as soon as it comes out. Ryan is going with Wisdom, one of the guys that might have enough power to get it into a win, howling in from center field. Yep. And the other guy might be Nelson Velazquez. I think it's 4 really good picks tonight.
Yeah, this is going to be another one where I'm probably going to get screwed because Nelson or Wisdom might actually hit a homer, and Nico's going to go like 3 for 5 with a stolen base and a couple runs scored, and that just ain't going to be enough.
Nobody picked Hosmer revenge game. No, they did not.
No, Hosmer.
Good point, Nick G. P. Will's taking Velazquez. Rhonda says Wisdom. Ravi's going Rios, even though he's not in on the lineup. Joey, who are you taking? Who is your?
Is it Gomes starting tonight?
Gomes is starting behind the plate.
Well, if it was Ryan, he would try to make me take Gomes because he likes to have his hands in how the rules work and tries to.
Glenn is taking Hap in the chat.
Tough. I'll take Mancini tonight.
Ooh. You're going Mancini.
I'll take the Cini tonight. That's some spat math for you. Feeling a big game from him.
Speaking of Ryan trying to, kind of tell us when we're right or not or decide things.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
Okay.
Let's not forget whenever Tyone went on the IL, and I said Caleb Killian. Well, he's not on the Iowa Cubs probable pitchers list right now, according to Tommy Birch, and so
let's hope that's because he's making his start and not because he's hurt or something that we don't know about.
Yeah,
right.
Right.
That's what we hope. But we did try to tell Ryan that they were going to have to call somebody up after that game. And he just told us no, and he kind of laughed at us and looked at us, shook his head in disrespect. Turns out these two were right.
They should credential my ass and let me go into the press box.
Caleb Killian. I just saw a list where he was only ranked as the number. I think it was Brian Smith. It was pitching prospects for the Cubs, and I think he had him like 11 or 12. I don't want to say the wrong number, but I thought to myself, that's pretty good. Got some of those guys. Everybody's excited about Ben Brown right now.
Oh, Ben Brown shoved
Valencia. A lot of people excited.
6 innings, 9 Ks down in Tennessee. Farms looked really good last week. Honestly, the entire season. PCA back in the lineup for Tennessee tonight. I know a lot of people were worried about him. He was just sick. It's a lot of guys. It's more than just like Mervis, Morel, and Velazquez. There's so much down there to be excited about. But I am optimistic that maybe Ben Brown gets a start, gets called up to make a start sooner than we all expected. And coming in the year, I was thinking,
it's looking like
after
a good
the
deal.
All-Star break. But with depending on how the Tyone thing goes, and Kyle Hendricks in Iowa, and Wisniewski struggling right now, never know. I love the options. I love that they have the options.
Near and I did try to dunk on Cody, but his bet actually won.
My bet
so
did win.
he didn't bet against Jimmy, although he kind of did. Michael Collada's taking David Ross tonight. P-Will supporter, I'm taking Justin Steele. I made that pick before 10 a.m. this morning. Who else was in the chat? Barb wanted to know if Joey's on edibles for taking Mancini.
No. And, do edibles help you see the future, Barb? Because I'm telling you, we're getting a win tonight. It's spat math. We actually just wrote a petition into Fangraphs to see if we can get our own.
Well, if they ain't letting Delmetrics and they ain't letting spat math in.
Well,
if they
no,
do,
I wrote it as a
co.
From the CHGO Cubs podcast. We bring you spat math and Delmetrics.
Okay.
Both.
I can get on board with that then.
As a disciple of Delmetrics, spat math is
unproven. The mathematicians are still
sometimes
crunching some of the numbers on it, but
sometimes it's a little fuzzy.
There is a community that feels very strongly about it.
You can't always do the math backwards either. Sometimes it doesn't work both ways. That's just the way it is.
P-Will supporter asked, who from the White Sox should the Cubs trade for at the deadline?
We will have to wait for Luke's annual Cubs Sox trade proposal.
We tried to make one last year, and that didn't
really would have
well.
backfired. You don't want that deal.
Yeah.
What was the deal? Remind everyone.
The deal I suggested last year around the trade deadline was I assumed Happ was not re-signing. They were trading him. We were just days away. Happ was saying his goodbyes. He was hugging Bleacher Jeff. So I thought, well, okay, he's gone.
Right.
Ian Happ's going to be traded, and Patrick Wisdom's at third, and he had like 20 home runs. And I said, you know what? I don't know that Wisdom's the future of third base. I'd rather go slightly younger. What if Moncada bounces back? Let's trade Happ and Wisdom for Moncada. Let's take a flyer on Moncada and see if we can get lucky, lightning in a bottle at third base. Well, I'm pretty glad Jed didn't pick up my call, and I'm also very glad Rick Hahn did not pick up my call.
Yeah. I don't think Patrick Wisdom's the future at third base for the Cubs, but he
might be the
good.
Future this year. Might be the future this season.
This year, yeah. And you're not paying him anything.
If he hits 50 bombs like Cliff Floyd thinks.
yeah, that's true.
He's got 9 home runs in April.
That's true.
It's not bad. Not a bad month. All right. Anyways, we'll be back here after the game for a full post-game show. Joey, are you still going to be here?
I will not be here for post-game. I believe it is Kevin Wells here for post-game.
So you're bailing on us is what you're saying.
No, I wouldn't.
I don't know if Joey really gets to make that. Does he get full credit now if Mancini hits 3 bombs?
You asked me who I took.
Well,
that's who I took. Fine. All right, me and Kevin will split the win on this if Mancini hits 4 home runs.
Barbara, it will literally be as soon as the game ends.
We will be live minutes after the game ends. If the Cubs win, there will be an ice-cold 3-1-2 beer bat chug from Cody. There will not be a fanged, shotgunned 3-1-2 from Joey because he will be out the door ready.
I will be here for Cubs Post tomorrow.
But you will be here for Cubs Post tomorrow. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for checking out the CHGO Cubs pregame show podcast presented by DraftKings, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download the app, use the promo code CHGO when you sign up. Enjoy the game. We'll be on the Twitter machine as well during the game, and then we hope to see you back here after the game for the hour-long post-game show. P-Will supporter just said the words I never want to hear about a baseball game.
Don't say it out loud.
I'm not even going to look at the comment again. Mm-hmm. That is the most evil thing you've ever said in any chat anywhere ever before. Shame on you, and fly the W.